Hello and welcome back to my channel, and today we're looking at Chivalry 2, which is a game from 2022 based on when it dropped on Steam. It might actually be 1 year prior, 2021. The game is made in Unreal Engine 4 and, well, it is a medieval combat game where you just go and actually swing things around and hope to survive, but there is a little bit more to it. Now, let's talk about the hardware requirements. The minimum GPU you need to play this gem is a GeForce GTX 660 with at least 2 GB of video memory, and recommended GPU is a GTX 1070. And, well, preferably you should have 16 GB of RAM. So what makes this game unique is essentially it's medieval times, and you've seen a lot of VR games out there that actually kind of allows you to relive the combat, and this game is pretty much a little bit more unhinged if it comes to current games we have. So you might have seen For Honor, for instance, kind of like, large battles, large different attack styles, different, countries and classes being represented. In here it's kind of a little bit more simple. Like, you join a fight, you have your weapons, and you have a little bit of combat experience that you can learn in terms of blocking, parrying, and dealing damage and surviving. Now, obviously the game itself is made for accessibility reasons, so if you have a low performance PC you still should be fine. But nevertheless, the game actually looks pretty good. So let's go over to the settings and have a quick look-see here. So first and foremost, we're going with the 4K native as usual. We're gonna take this game with the 47 Ti and i5 96K and 32 gigs of RAM. We're going with the full screen. No frame rate cap, obviously no vertical sync. First person field of view is slightly cranked to 110. I would want to say you probably should be cranking it all the way to kind of give you a bit better overview of the battlefield and what's happening around. We're going with an epic preset, that's the highest we can get. Resolution scales on 100%, so native 4K, and everything else is cracked. Despite the fact that the game is made in Unreal Engine 4, it does support the DirectX 12, and even in DirectX 11 it actually supports DLSS. So if you are going with NVIDIA GPU, you should be absolutely fine. And the reason for DLSS is the more people you get in, and you can actually go up to 60 or 64 player battlefields, the more performance hit your PC might actually take. Depends on the quality settings and everything else, but you already know all that. Now, I'm not exactly a Chivalry player, so I'm here just to look at the numbers. The numbers are on kind of like right hand side, give or take, and we're just gonna look on the general performance in 4K on DirectX 11 API rather than DirectX 12 and no DLSS, because this, I believe, is kind of like the best performance for your buck. The game currently is still for free on Epic Store, so if you missed out on it and you don't want to spend money for this game, which in all honesty, I don't usually say you should be spending money on a game, but I kind of see this game being a little bit more fun if you play with friends than, let's say, For Honor, because I don't know, it's not exactly the skill gap, but just the overall feel and the things that happens in this game is a kind of interesting. So we're just gonna jump in, and I think we're just gonna go with the training grounds, because for people who never played this game, I would want to say you should kind of spend a little bit of time in training grounds, getting used to the weapons, getting used to the timings, because it's not exactly just swing and hit and everyone dies. It's more about, you need to know when to swing, you need to know when to evade, you need to know when to block. There's a little art to all of this, but that's enough chit chat. Let's select training grounds and just essentially just wait for the matchmaking to take its course, because we just need to see how it all works. Now, granted, for seasons Chivalry 2 players, you probably gonna hate me for what I'm doing here, because honestly I have no idea what I'm doing here, but it looks fun. And we're just gonna see the general performance of the game, and honestly it runs pretty good. I mean, it runs better than good. Considering for 4K epic settings, this is more than I would wanna actually bet my money on. So even now, we're starting with 4.8 gigabytes of video memory allocated being pulled. GPU usage is exactly as you would expect from Unreal title, and we're above 60 frames. And this is all on Epic. And honestly, when you look at the game itself, the game actually looks pretty good. Now, granted, Unreal Engine 4 is slightly dated in comparison to Unreal Engine 5, as the Senua is being made on and stuff like this, but overall, this is not bad. So let's try to help the boys out a little bit here. And obviously we are fighting against the bots, and when it comes to the bots, this is just for you to get in the grips of how the game actually runs and what you should be doing, because otherwise the fight will be pretty much over in a couple of seconds if you don't know what you're doing. I think my survival options are exhausted at this point, and I'm killed by Stefan, which is fair enough. So, good thing is you don't have to wait until you spawn back in. This happens in game as well. You don't have to wait for the match to finish, so you can rejoin in. So it's more about push, and the more people, the more fun it is. Now, when it comes to the weapons loadouts, I do believe there's a trick to it, but so far I know that I'm always coming with an axe, and I guess it's kind of good enough to a certain extent. So yeah, there's a little bit of a learning curve here. Now obviously the more you play this game, the more advanced you're gonna get in terms of tactics and skills on what to do and how. But yeah, it is how it is. Now, when ranking this game in terms of performance and availability, I would want to say, I must say this is way easier than For Honor, because in For Honor you do have multiple ways on how to do things and how to attack, how to block, how to evade. In here it's a bit more simpler, at least against the bots. Now, you do have a level system, you do have a gear system to a certain extent, so when it comes to it, you kind of need to learn a little bit of the ropes here, but outside of that, at least you don't instantly get wrecked, unless you're me, but that's kind of expected. So yeah, let's just run up, and I think we need to destroy the tower in the next 5 minutes, so we're just gonna be doing that real quick. And we took one for the team, and the score is 275, so you know, it's not too bad here. Just gonna spawn back, hopefully close to the tower, and we're just gonna try to get in it. As you can see, there are some things you can do instantly, like building barricades and whatnot, but yeah, that's entirely up to yourself to discover how the tactics works, where the choke points are, and so on and so forth. This is still a tutorial, I would want to emphasize pretty heavily, because yeah, this is pretty much how it goes if you just rush in. Now, in regards to the game itself, as you can see, it runs absolutely fine. Like, there's very little to want from this game when it comes to, oh, but how does it run? It runs fine. Like, literally, for the scope of the game and the battles and intensity, how it works, this is not bad at all. This is actually, I would want to say, how it should be going. So, I'm just gonna annoy these boys over here and gonna ignite the barrels and move the hell away, because I do believe they might actually kick off with a little bit of a blast there. Not 100% sure about it, but We need to dip. And we did dip. Right into the ditch. Nevertheless, this particular tower should be going up in smoke in the next 3 minutes. So, be better than me. Learn the game. Actually do the tutorial before you join in, unless you prefer playing this game on a hard mode. And then wondering why you're getting completely decimated 2 minutes in, but... it is still a little bit of fun. Also, I think I lost my head somewhere around the corner there. So yeah, imagine that. Dying for bots. 3 times in a row. Or was it 4? I don't know. I didn't count, but... it's essentially how it is. Like, you kind of need to get through this stage and then you're gonna be okay-ish. It's not that, you know, this game is promising you to have a decent understanding of what you're doing, but oh, this dude is persistent, I'll give him that much. I think I should actually heal for a while, or for a moment. See how that works out for ourselves. But I think we're gonna do the objective eventually. Not too sure about this. Now, there's quite a few things you might want to do before you jump into the game. There's quite a few YouTube videos and YouTube channels that play this game exclusively, so you might actually want to check them out first, because you do have certain pro strats and tactics, specifically as a new player when you come onto the battlefield, so you know what to do and what to avoid, or what to keep on doing. So it's just, I think, one of those things really, end of the day. And if you don't do that, you're probably gonna end up exactly like me, being overwhelmed by all these dudes and running away, probably failing as well. I guess it kind of shows never turn your back towards the enemy. So well, I think we should be able to destroy this tower. But yeah, I hope you guys are keeping an eye on those frames, because honestly, even if the frames were lower than I expected, I don't think this game would actually really care about it. And even being completely sliced up as a salad doesn't exactly send you in a fit of rage, if you know what I mean. Like, this is a little bit less personal than For Honor, for whatever reason. It kind of feels like, you know what, I'm gonna swing my thing first, I'm just gonna see where it goes. In For Honor, you kinda need to learn a very sophisticated combat system, and then you can boast if you actually manage to do that. Yeah, this amount of guys is not my cup of tea, at least. And they somehow win. So I guess they managed to extinguish the barrels. Now, is this a bad thing? No. Why? Because this is the tutorial. This is exactly what it's meant for. You need to figure out how to use stuff, how to approach stuff, and learn the combat. And the only way you can learn the combat is actually fighting. So I would want to say this is pretty much all there is. In terms of performance, I did see that we actually dipped all the way down to the low 70s at times, specifically with a lot of NPCs on the screen. So I would want to say that's probably is because of the CPU. And in all honesty, you know, who plays games in 4K epic, specifically when there's a lot of NPCs and a lot of things on the screen? But if you have anything better than 6 cores and no hyper-threading, I think you're gonna be absolutely fine, because This game's been around for a while, and there is a reason why people with literally anything that runs this game is still playing it, and you don't have to worry too much about it. I'm just gonna let my boys take the team, or take the lead for this one. Oh, there's nothing better than bringing some democracy to some peasants. You know, there you go. Ever wanted to do that? This is your jam. But yeah, even outside of being free on Epic, this game actually sells for about £24, give or take $30-ish, I guess. Depends how you look at inflation and things and currency values. But yeah, I would want to say, if you have your friends, or you just enjoy medieval combat and you know you are better than me, take it, play it, and it doesn't require a mass. It does not require a massive PC hardware to run this. So honestly, this is already a big plus. I'm not saying this is, you know, what was the name of that game? Kingdom Come Deliverance, that was the game. Yeah, it might not be that exact title, but you get to run in with an axe and swing it around until you figure out how to swing it around correctly. So, I mean, I kind of told you that already. Guess I'm trying to get away. And that's all there is. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I was gonna say, check this one out and be better. Over and out.